So welcome back to the program, everyone. A lot's going on here in Washington, obviously, with just 4 days left until Donald Trump becomes the 45th president of the United States. And by CNN's latest count, at least 31 House Democrats skipping Donald Trump's inauguration on Friday. Two of them joining me now, California Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Congresswomen, I should say, Barbara Lee and Judy Chu. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman. I appreciate it. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be with you.
Yeah. Thank
Great.
you.
Congressman Lee, you first. You're on a growing list of Democratic lawmakers not attending this inauguration. You say you'll be, quote, preparing for resistance. What does that mean?
Well, let me say I did not make this decision lightly. Actually, I decided last week that I was not going to participate in this celebration, and that's exactly what it is. And the reasons that I'm not going to celebrate, I think I laid out, but one is I don't want to celebrate, a president-elect coming in that campaigned on a campaign of bigotry and divisiveness and who has continued to campaign even after he won the campaign on this platform. And so I decided that I'm going to work on a variety of issues with many people in terms of planning details of how we're going to resist many of the policies that he has proposed, such as to end the Affordable Care Act and take away health care for millions of people and other
Congresswoman,
issues.
Can you do that, though, and still go to the inauguration? Do you think it may backfire on you? Because you're going to have to govern with this man and with the Republicans in Congress.
No, I intend to govern. That is my job as a member of Congress. However, there's some of us who have to make sure that the gains that we've made on behalf of the poor, on behalf of people of color, on behalf of the LGBT community, on behalf of the most marginalized and the most vulnerable in our country, there's some of those who are going to have to resist this agenda that he campaigned on, which is one of really not unity but divisiveness and bigotry. And so I intend to do my job, but I also intend to fight to protect the gains that have been made and to represent the most vulnerable in our country.
And people should know that you decided not to attend the inauguration before the incident with Congressman Lewis. You put this out last week, but Congresswoman Chu, it was the incident with Congressman Lewis that was a decider for you, help you make your decision. Why is that?
Oh, yes. It wasn't until Saturday that I made up my mind. I was trying to decide and going back and forth, but when I heard that Trump denigrated and disrespected the greatest icon and civil rights leader of our time, John Lewis, I could not believe it. And I could not believe that he would do that on Martin Luther King weekend. That added insult to injury. So I immediately said that I wasn't going to go. It was this on top of his insults to the disabled, to women, to Gold Star parents. To me, this was the last straw.
So I have to ask you, the day after Hillary Clinton lost, she said Americans owe Trump an open mind and a chance to lead. And respectfully, if she can attend the inauguration, should you and your other colleagues reconsider, Congresswoman Chu?
I am open-minded to actually making some progress. I actually issued a letter as chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific Caucus and on behalf of our 50 members to have a meeting with Trump. We sent this letter in December, but we have even yet to hear an acknowledgement of that letter. I do want to see if he can make some progress, but I think if we make progress, it actually has to start from him. I think he has to stop denigrating people gratuitously with his tweets on a continuous basis. If I were him, being only a few days before his inauguration, I would attempt to unify the people who are coming from all kinds of different places, this very diverse country of ours. Instead, he deliberately picked on the leading civil rights icon of this nation on Martin Luther King weekend and chose to pick a fight with him.
Congresswoman Lee, I have to ask you about this because many people see an irony in this because they say Donald Trump tried to delegitimize the current president not only as a president but as a person for years. You have criticized him for fueling birtherism, a means to question Barack Obama's legitimacy. Is that a factor in why you think so many Democrats are now questioning his legitimacy and are now not going to attend this inauguration?
There are many factors that I'm not going to attend the inauguration. We know that there was foreign Russian influence in the election. That's a factor. But we also know and have witnessed the divisiveness that is continuing. I had hoped really that this would not continue into his presidency, but this appears that he's going to govern in this way. And I'll give you two examples. One is the nominee for the Attorney General, Senator Jeff Sessions. When you look at Senator Sessions' history of being on the wrong side of equal justice under the law for everyone in our country, that's an example of going back and putting people in a cabinet that wants to turn back the clock and not be a representative of everyone in our country. When you look at Steve Bannon, an advisor in the White House who's a known and avowed white nationalist, how can I celebrate these type of cabinet nominees?
Well, Congresswoman, I do have to tell you, he
values?
says he's not a white nationalist. He just says that his platform, which was Breitbart, was a platform for, his website was a platform for white nationalists. He denies being a white nationalist.
I understand that, but when you look at the platform and when you look at he was one of the founders, you have to make that connection and unless you just totally are hypocritical and don't support your platform.
What I think is interesting is that people may be sitting at home thinking that this is some coordinated effort on behalf of Democratic Congresspeople. And you guys have told me that this is not. This is organic. You guys are not calling each other, or it's not organized at all, Congresswoman Chu.
Yes, this is not organized at all. We did not text each other or email each other. We each actually made our own personal decisions about what we were going to do. And in fact, there are people attending the inauguration for their own reasons or their own roles. For instance, our leaders of the Democratic caucus are attending, such as our leader Pelosi and our minority whip Steny Hoyer. And there are others that want to be there with their constituents. But I think that each of us are left to our own conscience in terms of what we feel about what is going on in this country with Donald Trump, and especially his actions of the past few days.
Well, I appreciate both of you taking the time to come on. Congresswoman Lee, Congresswoman Chu, thank you so much. Have a good evening. I appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.